Hello children, I am back with the second part of Children at Work from your supplementary book. Students, in this part you will see the line by line explanation of second part of Children at Work, and at the same time we will also have a quick recap of part 1. So let's begin with me. Students, first of all, we will see a very quick summary of part 1. Whatever happened in part 1, just have a look on that. Velu escapes from his house and reaches Chennai by the Kanyakumari Express. He gets down on Chennai Central and feels miserable and exhausted seeing the crowded railway station. Because of confusion and uncertainty of place to reside, he sits on a bench, keeping his head between his knees. Suddenly, a girl calls him and asks him whether he is new in the city. Velu hesitates to tell her the reason of his escape from home. When Jaya tells him to join her, initially he hesitates, but the next moment he makes up his mind and goes with Jaya. Now, students, what happens after this, we will see in the second part's line by line explanation. So, students, this is the explanation of part 2. He caught up with the girl as she was leaving the station. When they got to the road, Velu found that the vehicles kept coming and never stopped for anyone. Smoke and dust flew at him from all sides, making his head spin. Children, first of all, let's have a look on the words and their meanings. Caught up. This is the very first word that is written with red ink in the first line. Its meaning is reached successfully. Second word is given on third line, got to. It means came on. And the last word is given in the last line, spin. Spin means go round or whirl. So here, when Jaya offered help to Velu, initially Velu hesitated. But next moment when he saw that now Jaya was leaving the station, she was moving out of the railway station because she was in hurry. She had to collect the papers and plastics from different part of the city. So immediately Velu made up his mind and he reached with her. Now these two children, they came on the road and Velu found that the vehicles were continuously moving on road. They were not stopping for anyone, and the smoke and dust was flowing all around in the air, and this smoke and dust made Velu's head spin, go round and round. He felt as if he will fall because of that dust and smoke. They had to wait for a long time before they could find a gap to run through. Velu kept hesitating and the girl finally dragged him to the other side. Here, to run through means cross the road. Hesitating means pausing because of fear, and dragged means pulled forcefully. Now, when these two children were intending to cross the road, they had to wait for a long time because of that heavy traffic on the road. So finally they could do, but that became possible because of Jaya. Because initially Velu was hesitating, he was pausing because of fear. He was in fear that he may get hit by some vehicles. So seeing this, girl Jaya, she dragged Velu by holding his hand and then pulling him forcefully. What do you think you are doing, grazing cows? If you stand around in the middle of the road like that, you will be chutney. Now Seeing the attitude of this boy Velu, Jaya got very angry and she started to scold him. What did she say? That if you will stand in the middle of the road, you will become chutney. And this is not your grassland. This is not your field where you are grazing cows. This is road of a big city where you have to act quickly. Otherwise, you can get hit by some big vehicle and your body will turn into some chutney. Velu's heart was still beating fast. He looked back at Central Station and traffic speeding by. Because he was a new boy in the city, he had never seen such great amount of traffic on the road. So his heart was beating very fast because of fear. And then when he crossed the road, he turned back and looked towards the railway station and the traffic that was passing very quickly. Speeding by means passing quickly. So he looked towards both the things and his heart was still beating very fast. How had they managed to come through that? He was thinking that how was it possible that he could cross that huge traffic. So he was thanking God in some way that he could finally manage to cross that traffic on the road. They walked along the side of the road under some huge signboards. Now these two children, they started to move ahead from the side of the road. They were crossing the road, they were moving ahead, and in the side of the road they saw that there were very huge signboards. Huge means big, and signboards are the boards that are used to display the names or the logos of the business products. You can see in the picture there are so many signboards in the side of the road that are displaying the advertisements of the products of different companies. So here Velu also looked up those towards those signboards and he found that there were images of banyans, cars, tires, pans, a woman holding a box, and so many other images he could see on those big signboards. The writing was all in English, so he didn't know what it meant. On those big, huge signboards, everything was written in English language, and Velu was not literate in English, so he could not read. But he could understand the images. He could see that these were the images of different products of different companies. The girl turned onto a wide bridge and walked up. Velu stopped and peeped over the railing. Under him, the road ran into the city. Now they started to go ahead through a big wide bridge. So Jaya started to continue on that bridge, but Velu stopped and he peeped. Peeped means looked quickly. So he looked quickly over the railing and he saw that under him the road was running into the city. It was moving towards the main city, Chennai. In the distance, he could see huge buildings and towers and more roads. And when he observed, he found that there were huge buildings and tall towers around the city. And there were so many roads going in different directions of the city. Means Chennai was a very big city where he could easily disappear. See that big building with the wall around it. If you are not careful, you will soon be counting bars there. The girl grinned and pointed at a huge building. Now, when they were moving ahead, Jaya pointed towards one building that was a huge building with walls around it. So, pointing towards that building, Jaya said to Velu that when you are roaming around this city, you must be very much careful. You must not come in front of the police. Otherwise, you will be caught up and you will be sent to the jail. And then she smiled. Velu squinted and read the Tamil sign, Central Jail. Why? I haven't done anything wrong. You don't have to do anything, just don't get caught, that's all. What does she mean? Velu wondered. Now, when Jaya suggested Velu to be careful not to be caught by the police of the city, Velu, and when she looked towards one building, she pointed towards one huge building. Velu looked, what was that building? He looked towards that building, and on the top of that building there was a huge sign that was written in Tamil. So Velu squinted his eyes and he read what was written on that sign, and he found that it was Central Jail. So he got surprised that he was not a criminal, he had not done any offense. Then why Jaya was telling him to be careful, and why he must be careful? He is not a bad person. Jaya said that to be caught up by the police, it is not necessary that you must do something wrong, because these were the stray children. They were roaming around in the city. So they were simply caught up by the police and kept behind the prison. But because Velu was a simple boy, he could not understand. He was not knowing anything like this. So he wondered on the words of Jaya. Meanwhile, the girl was already heading down the bridge with the sack on her shoulder. When Velu stopped and he was peeping through the railing of the bridge, at that time Jaya was still moving ahead. She was proceeding towards the downside of the bridge as she was in the hurry. As I already told you, she had to collect the rubbish, the papers, the plastics from different parts of the city. So she was proceeding towards the end of the bridge with the sack that she was having on her shoulder. What was it? He had seen her putting plastic cups into it at the station. Now Velu was still thinking why this girl was having that sack on her shoulder, and why she was putting plastic cups and papers and different other things that were rubbish, that were considered rubbish. So he was still thinking, and but he was hesitating asking the girl. Finally he asked, what are you carrying in that bag? Things, bottles, paper. Velu wondered what she was doing with them, but he felt shy to ask any more questions. It was still morning, but the sun blasted down on the tar and Velu's bare feet burned. Now, when Velu looked towards the sack that Jaya was carrying on her shoulder, so some questions came in his mind. He wanted to know what she was carrying in her bag. Initially, he could not ask, but finally he made up his mind. He asked Jaya that what she was carrying in that bag. So Jaya answered that she was carrying things like bottles, papers, plastics in that bag. Now, listening the answer of Jaya, Will wondered because in his village these things were considered as rubbish, as litter, and here this girl was collecting all these things in her sack. So he could not understand the reason, but he felt a bit shy to ask any more questions from the girl. Now, students, next what happens as these two children were moving, though it was still morning time, but still, because it was the southern part of our country, so the sun had started to shine brightly. The sun had blasted down on the tar. Blasted down means shone brightly. So the tar that was there on the road, it turned hot because of the heat of the sun. And now because Velu was walking bare feet on the road, on that tar road, so his feet started to burn. As he was a poor boy, so he did not have any footwear like shoes or chappals. So he was bare feet, feet without footwears. So his feet got burned because of that hot tar of the road. It was not like walking on a mud road. He was soaked with sweat. He tried hard to walk in the shade and keep up with the girl at the same time. She walked really fast. How far away was the food? Now, when Velu was walking on the road of tar, he was feeling heat on his feet and he was remembering the mud road of his village, because in the village he was very easily walking on the road that was made of mud. It was not getting so much heat as this tar road was having in Chennai. So his whole body was soaked with sweat. Now he was trying very hard to walk in the shady area, and at the same time he was also trying to keep up, to move with the girl, because she was walking really very fast. Now Velu was thinking how far away was his food, because he was hungry. He had not eaten anything for last 2 days. So he was thinking that very soon he should reach near the food and he gets something to eat. After almost an hour of walking, they stopped in front of a big building. Sri Raj Rajeshwari Prasanna Kalyan Mandapam, read Velu slowly. A sign with letters made of flowers said, Groom J.V. Vijayagan, Bride Rani. Velu stared at the big cars parked outside. Now these two children, they continuously walked for 1 hour, and finally Jaya stopped in front of a very big building, and on that building it was written Sri Raj Rajeshwari Prasanna Kalyan Mandapam, means it was the name of that marriage hall where these two children had reached. Now Velu slowly read that name of the marriage hall, and there with the flowers it was written the name of the groom as well as of the bride. So groom was J.V. Vijayagan and bride was Rani. These two people were going to get married in that marriage hall. Now Velu, he stared at a big car. He stared at the cars that were very big and that were parked outside the marriage hall. One of the cars had a flower garland and roses tabbed onto it. What is a garland, children? It is a string of flowers that generally we offer on the statues of the gods and goddesses, and at the same time we also use these garlands when some marriage ceremony takes place. So the brides and the grooms, they offer that garland to each other. So here that car was decorated with the garlands and the roses. The girl looked around, pulled one off quickly, and stuck it in her hair. As soon as Jaya looked towards that car and she found so many beautiful flowers stuck to that car, so immediately she picked up one and pinned it in her hair. Come on, she said. Now she told Velu to follow her. Are we going to eat here? Asked Velu, looking at the huge hall and the people inside. Now Velu got excited that now he is going to eat in such a big hall. So he asked Jaya whether they were going to eat in that big hall. And he looked towards the people and the hall that was huge in size. Now listening this, what did Jaya said? Just pay attention here. Hopes, said Jaya, shaking her thumb under his nose. She led him behind the hall. There was a big garbage bin overflowing with rubbish. Two goats were standing on the pile, fighting for a banana leaf. When Velu asked Jaya that were they going to get inside the hall and going to get meal there, listening this, Jaya said that I hope so. And then she spoke very disrespectfully to Velu, and then she took him behind the hall. There they found a very big garbage bin that was overflowing with the rubbish, with the waste material, with the litter. And there two goats were standing on the heap of that garbage, and they were fighting for one single banana leaf. So the situation was very horrible there. A cloud of flies buzzed around their legs. There was a rotten smell in the air. The girl picked up a squashy banana and held it out to Velu. Now, children, pay attention on the scene where these two children are going to get their food. That was a garbage bin. It was having dirty things around it. Animals were roaming around it. Goats were fighting for the food. They were finding the food there. Bees were flying around their legs. They were buzzing around the legs of these two children. And some rotten smell, some bad smell was coming from the air of that area. The girl picked up one squashy banana. From that garbage, Jaya picked up one soft turned banana, and then she gave it to Velu to definitely eat. Here's your food. Giving banana to Velu, she said, now this is your food. This you have to eat. Velu was shocked. Are we going to eat their leftovers? Though he was a poor boy, but he had never eaten any leftover in his village. So he was shocked that now he has to eat the leftovers of the people. Leftovers means the left out food of the people. When we eat something and we leave something in our tray, that is known as leftover. So here Vilu was shocked that now he is going to eat these leftovers, and just see his reaction. Gee, what do you think I am? A dog? I only take untouched food. What did he say to Jaya? That I never eat such food. I am not a dog, and I always eat untouched food. Here some more. Catch. She threw him a vada. Velu looked at it with distaste. Jaya did not pay any attention to the words of Velu, and she continued to search food from the garbage, and finally she got one vada also and threw towards Velu and said that this is one more thing that you can eat. Now Velu, he looked towards that vada with the dislike because he did not want to eat that food. So with this taste he looked towards that vada. Come on, hero, eat it. You think I like it? I told you I'll find you something to eat. Don't think I have money to buy food for you. You would better eat what you get until you have your own money. Velu hesitated, but his stomach squeezed him again. Now, when Jaya found that Velu is not interested to eat that leftover food, so she scolded Velu and said that, oh hero, you eat it because I don't have money to purchase food for you. And until and unless you are able to earn your own money, you must eat like this only. I'm also not liking all these things, but we have to somehow manage, we have to survive. So we must whatever we get. But Velu hesitated. He did not like such food, but his stomach was aching, it was squeezing with hunger. So finally, what did happen? He gulped down the banana and vada. Gulped down means ate quickly without chewing, because he did not like that vada and that banana. So he did not chew it. He quickly kept it inside his mouth and gulped down directly without chewing. His stomach felt better immediately. He could have eaten at least 10 times more, but the girl could find only one more banana, which she ate herself. Now, Velu was very hungry, so his stomach was still having so much space left, but he could not get more food because Jaya could get only one more banana, and then that she ate by herself as she was also hungry. So she ate the second banana, and Velu remained with the half filled stomach. It's too early, they have only eaten tiffin. If you are still hungry, you will have to wait for them to finish lunch. You can wait if you want. I have to work. I am going. She picked up a couple of bottles from the heap and threw it into her sack. Then she walked off. Now, Jaya was knowing it very well that Velu was still hungry. So she said to Velu that these people who are attending the marriage, they have just finished their snacks, their light meal, their tiffin. And if you are feeling more hungry, then you must wait till afternoon, because in the afternoon they would take their lunch and again they will leave something in their food so that you can get as your lunch. So for that you must wait here. But I cannot wait because I have to pick up the couple of things around the city. So I am leaving. And then she picked up some bottles and some other things from the garbage and threw it into her sack and started to walk off. Velu panicked. When Velu saw that Jaya is leaving him alone, he feared because he was alone in the city. So he panicked. He realized that if the girl left him, he had no idea where he was and what to do. It was better to stick to her. She seemed to know her way around. He ran after her again. Now, Velu panicked when he found that Jaya was leaving him alone in that big city, and he was knowing it very well that if Jaya will leave him, he will not know where to go, what to do, and which place would be safe for him. So he decided that he must remain with the girl. He must stick to her, means he must be with the girl. And because she was knowing the area very well.
Yay! He called. He did not even know the girl's name. Hey, what is your name? He asked, hurrying behind her. She stopped and turned around. Oh ho, so you have been following me around without even knowing my name. Jaya. Now, because Velu did not know what was the name of the girl and he wanted to call her, so he addressed her by calling Ye. And then further, he asked her what was her name. Now, listening Velu's question, Jaya turned back and she said, Oh ho, you were not knowing my name and then too you were chasing me for last 1 hour. Then she further told that my name is Jaya.
I am not following you. What then? Who got you food? Listening, Jaya, Velu said that I am not chasing you, I am not following you. And then Jaya said that if you were not following me, then who gave you the food to eat? Can I come with you? Now Velu asked that can he come with Jaya? Where are you going? Then further he asked that where she was going. Come if you want. That bag is full. I have to go home to get another one. Jaya said, if you wish, you can come with me, you can join me. I am not forcing you, and I am going back to my home because my bag is full. I have to replace it with the other empty bag because still I have to search many more things from the city. So, children, this is the end of part 2. I hope you have understood. Very soon I will be back with part 3. Thank you.